The envelope trembled in my hands, its crisp edges biting into my palms as I stood frozen in our dimly lit kitchen. The DNA results were inside, a truth I wasn't sure I wanted to face. The clock above the sink ticked too loudly, each second a hammer against my skull. Last night, Elise's laughter had filled this room, her fingers brushing mine as she handed me a glass of wine, her eyes warm but distant. I'd ignored the flicker of unease then, chalking it up to exhaustion. But now, with that sealed envelope staring back at me, the weight of her late-night texts, her unexplained absences, and that unfamiliar perfume clinging to her coat crashed over me like a wave I couldn't outrun. I tore it open, the paper ripping jaggedly, mirroring the fracture in my chest. The words blurred. Paternity confirmed. 99.9%. Our daughter Lila was mine. Relief should have flooded me, but instead a colder realization sank in. Elise had insisted on the test, her voice trembling as she swore it was just to ease my paranoia. But if Lila was mine, why had she pushed for it? What was she hiding that made her doubt enough to demand proof? My knees buckled, and I gripped the counter, the cool granite anchoring me as my mind spiraled. The room smelled of last night's garlic and rosemary, a ghost of the life I thought we had. Liam. Elise's voice, soft and tentative, sliced through the silence. She stood in the doorway, her auburn hair catching the faint glow of the hallway light. Her eyes darted to the envelope and her breath hitched. You opened it. Why did you need this, Elise? My voice cracked, raw with the betrayal I hadn't yet named. If you were sure, why put me through this? Her lips parted, but no words came. She crossed her arms, her cardigan slipping off one shoulder, and I saw it, the flicker of guilt, the way her gaze dropped to the floor. I wanted us to be certain, she whispered, but the words felt rehearsed, like lines from a script she'd practiced in the dark. Don't lie to me. My voice was louder now, sharp enough to make her flinch. You've been different, distant. The late nights, the locked phone, that scarf you wore last week that smelled like someone else's cologne. Tell me what's going on. She stepped closer, her hands reaching for me, but I pulled back, the space between us a chasm. Liam, please. It's not what you think. Her voice broke, and tears welled in her green eyes, but I couldn't tell if they were real or a performance. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the love we'd built over 8 years, the nights we'd spent planning a future with Lila. But doubt gnawed at me, a slow poison. Then what is it? I demanded, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. Because this, I held up the results, the paper crumpling in my fist. This says Lila's mine. So why did you need proof? What aren't you telling me? She sank into a chair, her hands twisting in her lap. The kitchen felt smaller, the air thick with unspoken truths. I made a mistake, she said finally, her voice barely audible. A year ago. It was one night, Liam. I was drunk, and I was angry, and The world tilted. Her words hit like a blade, precise and brutal. I wanted to scream, to demand who, where, why, but my throat closed around the questions. Instead, I saw flashes of her smile, her touch, the way she'd kissed me goodnight even as she carried this secret. You cheated, I said, the words tasting like ash. And you thought Lila might not be mine. No. She stood, her chair scraping against the tile. I knew she was yours. I needed to be sure. For you. For us. Her voice cracked, desperate, but it only fueled my anger. For us. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. You broke us, Elise. You broke me. I turned away, staring at the fridge where Lila's crayon drawings hung, a painful reminder of the life I thought was ours. But then she spoke again, her voice softer, trembling with something deeper than guilt. There's more, she said. The man, it was David. My heart stopped. David, my brother. The one who'd been there through every milestone, who'd held Lila the day she was born. The room spun, the walls closing in as the betrayal doubled, tripled, a wound so deep it stole my breath. Elise's sobs filled the silence, but I couldn't look at her. The DNA test had confirmed Lila was mine, But the truth it uncovered shattered everything else. My trust, my family, my sense of who I was. And as I stood there, the pieces of my life scattered like ash, I realized the worst part. I still loved her, and I hated myself for it.